Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is Rashidul Hassan Tipu, your teaching instructor. Today we'll be discussing about chapter 6 of your BGS book, that is regarding culture of Bangladesh. We'll see different aspects of culture of Bangladesh, its development and its kind of nature and forms in our society. Now let us come to the first slide of our topic today, that is culture. In this slide, we'll learn what is culture, and about culture, we can say that culture is the lifestyle of people. That is how we lead our life, or the way we lead our life, how we eat, how we talk, how we communicate with others, what are the social habits we have, what are the food we eat, what type of music and arts we have. These all combines our culture. That is, if we want to define culture very shortly, we can say that culture is the way or the lifestyle of a people of a certain society. That is, we can see that in a certain specific society, we see a specific style of or way of living. That is, we can say that the ethnic group of Bengali, we have a specific kind of food habit, we have a specific kind of dress habit, that women's wearing sari and men wearing lungi, Punjabi, and in some cases pajama Punjabi, and these days shirt pant. And in case of food habit, we say we are fond of plain rice, and with that kind of fishes, some kind of meat, some vegetables, this kind of foods. And we have some kind of social habits, like we maintain age limit, that we respect elders, we are very generous to our youngers. Then we have a specific kind of folk musics and arts, and we have a specific language of Bangla. So culture is the specific lifestyle of a specific society. That is all about culture. Now let us learn about the elements of culture, and that is what are the elements, or what are the tools that culture depends on, or how we can gauge the culture of any society. There are two categories of elements of culture. One is concrete, visible, or materialistic culture. That is the elements that we can see, or that we can touch, or that we can only have some kind of visible existence in front of us. That is, we can see in the picture the pattern of some houses in Bangladesh. That is, in villages we have some mud houses, and in some cases in cities and villages also we see some concrete building with tin roof, or in some cases we also see full concrete building. And in case of transport, we see river transport of some boat, launch, etc. In villages we have some other transport like rickshaw and van, and also some kind of buffalo cart. We have also some kind of car vehicle, small cars and big buses also. And in case of dress up style, we can see that in city people, in case of city people, we wear Punjabi pajama, shirt pant, and also some other dresses. In case of female, we see some kind of salwar kameez and sari also. In village, we see that people wearing lungi, Punjabi, and sari. And in some cases, we see that in city areas there are some kind of western clothes we do not see in villages. And in food habit also, we see that we are fond of some kind of pithas, and some fishes, then plain rice, then meat, etc. So these are the materialistic elements of our culture that we can see or feel about. Now let us move on to the non-materialistic elements of culture. Non-materialistic elements of culture are otherwise known as invisible or abstract element of culture. These are the elements that we cannot see or touch. We can feel it, or we can just observe these. These are that not any material or any object. These are maybe some kind of topic, some kind of theme, etc. So the elements of our culture which are non-materialistic are our language, our morality, our ideals and values, our literature, our music, our science and knowledge, etc. As an example, we can say that our language is Bangla, and there are some other languages in Bangladesh also, that is Chakmas using their own language, Khasias using their own language, and some other ethnic groups are there who use their own language. And in some other regions also, we see some different accents of Bangla also, that is the people of northern region, that is in Rangpur, Dinajpur, we have a kind of a Bangla accent, and in southern districts like Chittagong, Noakhali and Barisal, we see some other kind of Bangla accent. And in some other examples, we can see that folk songs like Jari Gan, Bhawaiya, Bhatiali song, Murshidi Baul, these are the kind of song that represents our culture. And we have some special kind of festivals also, like marriage functions and Pohela Boishakh, Maghi Purnima, Eid, and other religious activities or festivals. Then in our culture, another very important non-materialistic element is superstitious beliefs like Kobiraji or Jharfuk in case of kind of treatment and medicine. Some kind of Ayurvedic treatment is also prevailing in Bangladesh. These are also non-materialistic element of our culture. Now let us move on to the next topic, that is forms and features of Bangladeshi culture. Culture of Bangladesh has developed on some foundations or grounds. That is, there are some foundations or grounds or characteristics of Bangladesh uh, based on which our culture has developed. The first one is our geography. That is, geographically we are a riverine country, and agriculture has developed in our country from the primitive time. So our culture is based on agriculture. The kind of songs we quoted earlier, that is Bhawaiya, Bhatiali, these has derived from our geography. Then again, our day-to-day life. Our day-to-day life also is very influential in case of our culture. Our day-to-day life was based on our geography also, and our economy also. That is, since we are an agricultural country, our food habit became like that. That is, we are dependent on agricultural tools or agricultural crops for our food. We are dependent on fish, meat, and some curries and plain rice for our food. In case of Western countries, we see that are very much dependent on industrial food items like noodles or pastas or something like that. But we very little depend on very common kind of food with in agriculture. Then again, our language also has some influence on our culture. That is, we have Pohela Boishakh and other festivals which depends on our agriculture. Then some kind of inheritance or history. Our history is very rich, and since we have some kind of history of different what can we say, that is imperialistic people, that is various kings and various countries ruled us, so our culture is kind of mixed up culture. And our nature and our natural calamities also have some influence in our culture, our religion, and our cultural diversity. All these are the forms and features of Bangladeshi culture. And the most important thing is humanism in our culture. We are very cooperative, and we are very human to other people in our country. We are very humble to say exactly. We cooperate other people very nicely, communicate with other very nicely, and we remain very generous to each and every people in our society. Now the next slide is patterns of Bangladesh culture. This is almost similar to the previous slide of forms and features of our culture, because the pattern of Bangladeshi culture is nothing but the forms of Bangladeshi culture. In fact, the forms and patterns of culture are very correlated, and it is just how our culture has developed and how we are now in our culture. I have given two paras here from your book, page number 53. These two paras are very important aspect of this part. You will study these two paras very carefully, and here you will find that the inheritance or history of our culture and the mix up of various culture in Bengali culture is quoted here. That is how our culture has come to the present form, based on our geography and nature, and based on the other culture like Portuguese culture, Australian, Austro-Asian culture, Tibetan culture. That is the rulers who ruled our country. Their culture has been mixed up into our culture. So you will find discussion on this part. I'm skipping this part because this is a very simple discussion, and we have already discussed about this. Now let us move to the last topic of our discussion today. That is the impact of culture in our individual and group life. That is how culture impacts us in our personal life and in our family and social life also. In some cases, national life also. That is, we have the belief and ideals and concepts regarding our life from our culture. That is, in the culture we are born in, we have the beliefs of like that. That is, staying in Bangladesh will not have the kind of belief of European culture. Will have the beliefs and ideals or behavior of our culture influenced in our character, because since we are Bengali and we are living in Bangladesh, our way of talking and way of communicating with others, our religious beliefs, what should we do, then how should we respect others, how should we talk with others. So these kind of beliefs, ideals and concepts and values and our human behavior is based on our culture. We do these kind of activities or these aspects of our life depends very on our culture. Then there are some other aspects of our culture that we see very strongly in our life. That is, in our culture we are very interdependent to each other. That is, the son and daughter are very much dependent on their elder brothers and sisters, and also to their father and mother. Then the education system we have, then we have very strong family relations and social relations. We see in these Ramadan days also we have exchange of some iftars and other food items amongst us. This kind of interdependence and social and family relations is very strong in our society or in our culture. And in our festivals we also see that these are very unique, and people of all classes we see joining or enjoying the same festival or culture. That is, in a marriage function of a very rich people, very lower or poor people are also enjoying. They are also attending those marriage functions. And in festivals like Pohela Boishakh, religious festivals, we see that we become very humble and we communicate with each other, and we also remain very active in these cases, and we share our feeling and our lifestyle with each other, our sorrows and all other aspects of our life very easily with each other, with other members of our family, with our friends and other people. but in the culture like European culture or American culture, we do not see that. They are not that much of expressive as we are. We easily share our sorrows and griefs to other people, which we do not see in case of other cultures. We are very humble to people. When any foreigner is coming to our country, we become very generous to them, and we like to welcome them very warmly, which we do not see in case of other countries. So our culture is a very unique one, and we have impact of this culture in our individual and group life. And internationally and globally, we are also very known for our culture and these aspects of our culture, that we are different from others. We have a certain type of behavior that is derived from our culture. So these are all about culture. So we are closing for today, and we'll be meeting in our next session with a new chapter, and we'll be doing some other practice works. Bye for today, and assalamu alaikum, and we'll be meeting again soon.